The morning air was tense inside the ITV studio as cameras rolled for the live broadcast of Loose Women. Usually known for its light-hearted chatter and celebrity gossip, today's episode was anything but ordinary. The atmosphere crackled with anticipation as the panel prepared for what was billed as a special interview with none other than Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Sussex, who had recently returned to the UK for a whirlwind series of public appearances. Jane Moore, one of the show's most seasoned hosts, had been briefed on the topics ahead: Meghan's latest memoir, her views on the royal family, and her ongoing philanthropic projects. But behind the polished smiles and camera-friendly banter, tension simmered. Jane, known for her sharp wit and no-nonsense questioning style, had always had a reputation for being candid, even confrontational, when she believed a guest was dodging accountability. Meghan, equally renowned for her composure under pressure, had prepared meticulously, anticipating difficult questions about her controversial interviews and her departure from royal life. From the moment Meghan stepped onto the set, dressed in a tailored cream suit that contrasted with the studio's bright colors, the clash of personalities was almost palpable. Jane greeted her politely, but the air felt electric, each word carrying an undercurrent of challenge. The initial questions were standard: book promotions, charitable efforts, and public appearances. Meghan responded graciously, smiling politely, giving measured answers that highlighted her commitments to social causes and her personal journey of empowerment. However, the tone shifted when Jane posed a question about Meghan's candid interview with Oprah Winfrey earlier that year. "Meghan, many viewers felt some of the claims you made about the royal family were deeply personal and, in some cases, contested. How do you respond to critics who say you misrepresented events for the sake of publicity?" Jane asked, her voice steady but pointed. Meghan's smile faltered slightly, replaced by a composed but firm expression. "I've always spoken my truth," she replied carefully. "Every experience I've shared is from my perspective, and it's important for me to be honest about my experiences and the challenges I faced." Jane, however, was not satisfied with this diplomatic response. Leaning forward, she pressed further. "But isn't there a responsibility to consider the impact your words have on others? Some would argue that your memoir seems to profit from airing grievances against people who cannot defend themselves publicly." At that moment, the conversation teetered on the edge of confrontation. Meghan's eyes narrowed slightly, and for the first time in the interview, her controlled demeanor showed cracks of frustration. "I understand the scrutiny, Jane, but my narrative is mine to share," she said, her voice calm but resolute. "I have faced intense public criticism and scrutiny, yet I stand by the honesty of my experiences." Jane Moore, sensing the tension, shifted her strategy. "Some viewers might feel that your openness is selective, and that certain parts of your story have been carefully curated to elicit sympathy. Isn't there a danger in shaping public perception in this way?" Meghan's response was measured but firm, signaling that she would not be provoked into a defensive posture. "I can't control how my story is interpreted, only how I tell it. My intention has never been to manipulate, but to share insights that might help others understand what it's like navigating the pressures I've faced." The back and forth continued, each question from Jane more direct than the last, each answer from Meghan steadfast yet tinged with subtle irritation. The studio, usually filled with light chatter and laughter, was silent except for the faint rustle of papers and the hum of cameras. Behind the scenes, producers exchanged worried glances, aware that the segment was spiraling into uncharted territory. Finally, after what felt like an eternity of increasingly tense exchanges, Jane Moore made a decisive move. Recognizing that the interview had reached a point where decorum was at risk, she stood and addressed the production team quietly, signaling her decision. Moments later, turning back to Meghan, Jane said firmly, "I'm sorry, Meghan, but I think we've reached a point where it's best to conclude this segment. We will have to end the interview here." Meghan, visibly composed despite the abrupt ending, nodded slightly. "I understand," she replied, keeping her dignity intact as cameras panned away from her. The audience, both in the studio and watching at home, was left stunned. Social media erupted immediately, with fans and critics alike dissecting every moment of the confrontation. Clips of Jane Moore insisting on ending the interview circulated widely, sparking debates about journalistic integrity, the rights of public figures to speak freely, and the fine line between tough questioning and personal attack. As the cameras cut to the next segment, the tension lingered in the air, a reminder that live television, no matter how polished, is never immune to real human conflict. Jane Moore, resolute in her approach, had demonstrated the delicate balance between assertive journalism and maintaining control of a live show, while Meghan Markle's calm exit reinforced her reputation as a figure who could withstand scrutiny and preserve her poise under pressure. For viewers, it was more than just an interview. It was a moment that captured the clash of personalities, the complexities of public life, and the unpredictable nature of live television. And while the episode would continue, the segment with Meghan Markle would remain the defining moment of the day, talked about for weeks, and dissected endlessly in headlines, opinion pieces, and late-night discussions. The moment the cameras stopped rolling on Loose Women, chaos erupted, not in the studio, but across the world of social media. Clips of the heated exchange between Jane Moore and Meghan Markle went viral within minutes. Fans were divided, some praised Jane for her unflinching questioning, while others defended Meghan, claiming she had been unfairly ambushed on live TV. Hashtags like #Jane vs Meghan and #LooseWomen drama were trending within hours. Inside the studio, producers were scrambling. Emails and phone calls poured in from executives and PR teams. The show's reputation was suddenly on the line, and advertisers were anxious. Jane Moore, usually unshaken by controversy, stood her ground. "I did my job as a journalist," she told one producer, her tone calm but firm. "The interview was about accountability, and we gave Meghan the opportunity to answer honestly. If she couldn't handle the questions, that's not on me." Meanwhile, Meghan's team moved quickly to control the narrative. A statement was released within the hour, emphasizing her professionalism and composure. Meghan Markle left the Loose Women studio with grace and dignity, despite facing questions that seemed designed to provoke conflict. She remains focused on her work and her advocacy, and will continue to speak her truth. Despite the carefully worded statement, media outlets ran dramatic headlines: "Loose Women in crisis, Meghan Markle walks out," and "Jane Moore ends interview in controversy." Talk shows, podcasts, and news bulletins dissected every line, every glance, every subtle facial expression. Television commentators debated whether Jane's approach had crossed a line or whether Meghan had been evasive. The story didn't stop there. Fans of Meghan flooded online forums, sharing GIFs and clips of her calm, collected responses, praising her for maintaining poise under pressure. Meanwhile, critics of Meghan circulated moments where her answers seemed guarded or vague, claiming this proved Jane's point. The internet became a battlefield, with supporters and detractors clashing in comment sections, creating viral memes, and producing endless reaction videos. Back in the studio, the tension lingered. Jane Moore appeared on a post-show segment, addressing the controversy. "It's unfortunate that an interview had to end abruptly, but sometimes conversations reach a point where continuing live could become unproductive or even harmful," she explained. "The goal is always to have honest dialogue, not confrontation for its own sake." Across the pond, British tabloids had a field day. Front-page spreads showed Meghan's poised exit and Jane's determined expression, accompanied by bold headlines like, "Duchess defends her truth," and "Loose Women host holds her ground." Evening news programs replayed the clip repeatedly, analyzing body language and tone, while late-night comedy shows turned the confrontation into sketches that would be shared endlessly online. Meanwhile, Meghan's allies prepared a counter-offensive. Advocates for mental health and media responsibility criticized Jane's aggressive questioning style, highlighting the pressure public figures, especially women, face under intense scrutiny. The debate shifted from the specifics of the interview to broader issues: media ethics, celebrity privacy, and the enduring fascination the public has with royal drama. For viewers, the clash became more than a television moment, it was a cultural event. Memes, hashtags, opinion threads, and debates dominated social feeds. People argued late into the night about who won the exchange, while news outlets reported record-breaking online engagement. The story spread internationally, reaching audiences in the US, Australia, and across Europe, confirming that Meghan Markle's presence on live TV could ignite global attention. Behind the scenes, production teams at Loose Women faced difficult decisions. Future episodes had to be carefully planned, anticipating that every guest appearance would now be scrutinized for tension or potential conflict. The staff held emergency meetings to discuss guidelines for live interviews, balancing journalistic rigor with the unpredictable nature of celebrity responses. Yet, despite the chaos, one thing was clear: the clash between Jane Moore and Meghan Markle would not be forgotten. It became a defining moment in British television history, a reminder of how live broadcasts can capture raw, unscripted drama that resonates far beyond the studio. And for both women, it was a testament to their resilience, Jane for her relentless pursuit of answers, and Meghan for her ability to maintain grace under fire. In the days that followed, the conversation continued to dominate headlines. Social media analysts reported record engagement numbers, while talk shows invited guests to weigh in on the ethics and emotions of the confrontation. Every news cycle seemed to echo the same question: who truly emerged victorious, Jane Moore for holding her ground, or Meghan Markle for surviving the storm with poise intact? As the dust settled, it became clear that this was more than a simple TV interview. It was a clash of personalities, values, and public perception, a moment that would be remembered, debated, and dissected for months to come. And somewhere in the midst of all the drama, the viewers realized that sometimes, the most compelling stories are the ones that unfold live, unscripted, and unfiltered.